Hey there, welcome to another little video I'm doing. So this is actually going to start of a series on C programming and, like just like an introductory thing, because I figured maybe if you're in high school, you might want to get ahead if you want to do it in university, or if you're just interested in programming and kind of like what it's like to do it. This might be a great introduction to that. And essentially we're just going to start off with very basic terms, like what some of these variable words mean and stuff like that. Um, so basically, the first thing you'll need if you're going to be programming anything is you're going to need an IDE of some sort. I use something called Visual Studio Code, which is this perfect little thing. We're not actually going to use this file. We're going to actually create a new folder because we do not we're not programming in assembly language because that would be, for one, I don't know it that well. For two, it's a nightmare to teach. So C, we'll just call this C for beginners. And then we're gonna select this folder and open this. Now, yeah, so what you're just gonna need is like a C file. So just say lesson1.c. Now, obviously, you might not have Visual Studios installed or C, like the C extensions installed. So what I would just say is go to your Chrome, open it up, go here, look up C compile online, and you can just come here, and boom, this is a C compile. It even gives you the main function in the standard library, which is that's what that means. We're not going to go really too much into libraries today, but we are going to use this. So I'm actually going to copy and paste this because this, I don't even want to write this out. But, so when we're looking at this, the first thing I'm going to explain is this little hashtag include here. This is just your standard library. It just means basically your input and output functions. And I'm going to talk about those. We'll talk about those like today too. So whenever you make a program, you're going to want the int main function, because this is the function that will always run when your program starts. Because you can make other functions, but they won't just go. Like they won't run when the program's compiled. They'll just sit there empty. Well, they won't be empty, but you have to call them within your main function. This is where the meat and the potatoes of the program happens. And it's very important. So yeah, so we'll just put a little comment here. Runs when program is ran, I guess. That's the best way to explain it. And this is another very crucial thing. I'm not actually going to explain all the way what return 0 means, but it's important. Let's just say this just means to close the program and return it. So just always put this at the end. It's basically like a safety measure. Not that your computer won't be able to handle it. It's just a thing to do. So safety thing for when program ends. Alright, so we're going to talk about the main couple variables. So I'll put a comment here, types of variables. And these all, and I'll just list them here. We have int, double, well, I guess I should go in order. Int, float, double, and then you have some other ones, like for int, you also have like long, which is just a bigger int, because ints only hold so much, and long holds more than that. And it's the same with float. Float's like the small version of a double. It just means it can hold more. And then we have char, and that's really it. We're not going to talk about strings today because that gets into pointers, and I don't think we need to talk about that yet. So let's explain this a bit. So ints, the way you declare them is any type of variable is you go here and you write int, and then the variable name. So let's call this vol1, and then afterwards you put an equal sign and you put what you want it to equal, but you have to make sure it equals what it's equaling matches up to the type of variable it is. So like this is an int. And if you don't know what an integer is, it is a number without a decimal. It's a whole number. Now, long looks the same way, long. And then you can just call this vol2 equals 20. And this is just a big integer. I don't have the exact numbers, but I can look that up. That's the beautiful thing about Google. Long variable size. So your long variable holds 4 bytes, and it can become that big. And let's go to int. And if we go to int variable size, oh, perfect. You also have short. So yeah, as you can see, it just gets bigger variable types. Although ideally, you wouldn't want to really, you don't really ever need to hold a number at like 2 trillion, negative 2 trillion. It's silly. Anyway, so moving on from that, we have floats. So float vol2 equals 10.1. And float just means a number with a decimal. I know I'm like really over explaining this, but I'm just trying to get this into your head that float, decimals, integers, whole numbers, and if you come up here, it's the same with doubles. Char is, you might guess it, just pretty simple. It's a character. It's, you know, it's literally short for character. It's char. So char, and then you give it a variable name as we've discussed. Vol3 equals 10. Oh, sorry. It's got to be a single character. So like, it could be a number technically, but this number isn't a character. This number is a character because the values for numbers are different than the values for characters. And yeah, so anyway, and this could be like A, this could be B, but it can't be two things because that's not how this works. So those are the main 3 types of variables. We have other ones called structs, but those are like custom variables, and we'll get into that into a later thing. So what we're going to do actually is I'm going to show you some basic operators, and I'm going to show you what a printf statement is, which is kind of handy. So what we're actually going to do here is we're going to create int vol3, and this, oh, int vol4, sorry, 1 for 4, and we're going to create one that's just 5. And you know what, to even clarify this more, we're going to make vol1 1, and we're going to go int vol22 equals 10.2, and we're going to go int vol3 equals, let's go with b. Now, you probably are thinking, okay, well, this is just simple math, right? So how are we going to add vol1 1 to vol1? And as you might be thinking, all you really have to do is you have to go vol1 equals vol1 plus vol2. And now we have to add this like this because it's the way it works. But there's another way to write this. So we can also write this as vol1 equals, we can go plus equals vol2. And that's another way to basically write this, and it's just a simplified version. And yeah, that's pretty helpful. I'm also going to include, I'm just going to slash this out so it's not confusing. But say if you wanted to just increment a number by 1, you can also do that by going vol1 plus plus. And this is just going to make the value of vol1 go up by 1. And for floats and doubles, it works the same way. We just need to change these because, oops. There we go. Yeah, so I'm gonna show you this too. Vol, what is it? Vol2 equal plus equals, because this is the simple version. Vol2, 2, and bada boom, bada bam. Vol2 now holds it should be 20.3, and then vol1 should hold 15. So let's get into characters here. So characters are a little bit different. They don't work quite the same way as floats or integers. You can't just add them because it doesn't work that way. So we're not really going to get into this that much, but like say if we went vol3 equals vol3, this isn't going to work because characters are different than numbers. They hold up more space, and essentially they're not addable. Because you'd think if we added them, it would just be AB, but no, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. It would be nice. Other languages like Python work that way, but Python does a lot of the heavy lifting, and we're doing all this ourselves. We'll go right down to the basics. So just to prove to you that this works, we're going to do a little printf here. And printf is essentially just a command to print to your terminal. And you can just figure this out. Well, not figure this out, but this just comes with the standard library. And you can, if you're still confused after, you can look up the documentation, but I'm going to try to explain it the best I can. So to input a variable from one of these, you go percentage sign, and then based on what it is, you put a different symbol. So characters are C, integers are D, doubles are, I don't remember. And see, this is why we need Google again. I haven't used a double in a while. Double printf C extension. And yeah, they all have different extensions. Oh, it's F for float. Yeah, that works, right? So let's just type them out here. So do you have a percentage sign? You can do as many as you want, and you can also write in here. So I'll actually show that off a bit. So we'll go int equals, and we'll go float equals, and we'll put F here, and we'll go. So essentially the next step to actually making it telling the computer in command which variables we are actually using, you have to put a comma, and then you write the name of it. So like for this one, we're going to use vol1 because that is the value we added up here, as you remember. And then we're going to put vol2 because that's the second value. And we're not going to put the characters because if we printed out the character vol3, it would just be A, and if we character the vol3, it would be B. And remember, for Charles, it's just, you know what? I will show you because this is a good example. So char equals C. And we'll just put vol3. And now, with this one, you have to, there's just a one button, which is nice. One code. Hang on. ID status. 1C social. Wow, this is weird. Okay, so hang on. Let's just open up a terminal because I don't really know what's going on here. Oh, hang on. We'll open the terminal here so it's in the right place. I don't have to. Oh, wow. It's at the right place now that I'm looking at it. So to compile something, you just like GCC, the name of it. So lesson 1.c. And there you go. It's compiled. And you know it's compiled because it's got a.exe, which is just the, it's exe just means executable, which means now we can actually run the code. So if we just go /a.e like that, and we look here, int equals 20, which makes sense because vol1 was 10, and oh, that doesn't make sense. Why is vol1 20? Vol1, vol2. We must have added 5 twice somewhere. Anyway. Oh, you know what it is? It's because we added vol2 to it. This is actually an interesting example too. See, because this should have been vol 1, 1. Anyway, so when you add an integer to a float, it'll always just round it off because integers can't hold float like decimal, so it just brings it down. And then if we look at float, it's 20.299999. That's interesting, isn't it? Because we got 10.1 and we got 10.2 and we just added them. That's actually rather odd, isn't it? Let me see, let's see what happens when we go like this, because I think something funky is happening with my compiler. But you get the idea, and then Charlie equals A, so that works, right? So let's compile this again and see what happens. 20.999. Very odd, but that doesn't normally happen. We're not going to worry about that. Anyway, so integers equals D, floats equals F, Charles equals C. We'll review over some of these. So int, so decimal, all numbers without decimals, floats all a number with a decimal. Vols are just a single character number letter within a single quote bracket. And then I showed you how to add them and how you can't add characters together because that's important. And the safety exit and the main function. I hope this was a good start to your knowledge into C. I'm going to do another video on some more complicated stuff next time. We're going to go into some maybe multiplication, some more of the basic library functions, because those are pretty useful to know. And yeah, so I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening.